Hi, everyone. Welcome to the Imperial Samaritan, where we feature stories about those who choose to give back. I'm Simone Doroski, and today I have a very special guest, Kim Parshley. She is the designer of Choose a Family. Could you tell us a little bit about your site?
Sure. ChooseAFamily.com. It's a social networking website where people can find substitute family members, which I like to call family figures. They can find friends and mentors and all different types of support, and it's based on the element of family. It's for those that have lost a loved one or maybe never had a brother or sister in their life, need to find these healthy platonic relationships that they're missing in their life and a way to fill that empty space in their life and in their heart. So this is a really, really unique platform for people to connect on that familial level.
Yeah, it sounds like it.
Hmm.
So, why did you create this site, or what was the purpose behind it, or is
Uh,
there a story?
yeah, of course. So many reasons why I created it. The first, I'd say, mainly because I had this perfect life growing up. I had perfect mom and dad and sister. It was the four of us, and we really had this great connection. And I felt so blessed that I had the best family in the world. And then, of course, things took a bad turn. My dad suddenly passed from cancer, and so I was only 13 years old when that happened. So it was definitely a challenge for me, and this perfect family that I had kind of didn't feel so perfect anymore. And then years later, in 2006, I lost my mom to cancer again, and she was my best friend, so it was really hard losing her. And it was that loss that I was experiencing, that terrible trauma that I just I didn't even know how to deal with it at the time, but I felt so empty. I felt like I really didn't have anyone. I felt like almost like an orphan, I'd say, at the time. And it was a couple of years later that I decided I wanted to try and build a platform for people to be able to connect with one another, especially those that are missing the element of family in their lives. I remember there were times, especially during the holidays, I was very lonely. I just felt like I didn't have anyone, and I just remember sitting at a very empty table by myself and quiet. And I was thinking of all the other people in the world that felt the same way I did.
Yeah, that's really
And
rough.
yeah, so how could I give back? How can I help those that feel the same way I do? Because that feeling was not fun. And
Mm.
so I figured, you know what? They have all these amazing dating websites out there. Why not build something where people can actually connect with a family figure, a mother figure, a father figure, a sister, a brother, grandparents. I mean, I barely had a chance to spend time with my grandparents. And so I wanted to try and build this platform where people connect on this familial level and build these healthy platonic relationships. And so I decided, look, if they can do it with the dating websites, why can't I do it with this platonic one? And so I did just that, and the rest is history.
Yeah, that's crazy. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, that's very true. I mean, a lot of people struggle with their everyday lives,
Mhm.
just having like a lack of love or like not so much family. Like even me, I know I lost my two grandparents in the past,
Oh, I'm sorry.
few years. So yeah, so it's crazy, but that's amazing that you're creating such an amazing site.
Mhm.
So I know like pandemic kind of hurt everybody. What about you in terms of during COVID? Did you see a lack or increase of people?
Definitely. There was a complete uptick in the members signing up during COVID, and that's just because the pandemic caused so much pain and change and loss in our lives that, our brains aren't wired to deal with that much trauma.
Yeah.
And so we enter this emotional shock,
Hmm.
and we begin living in survival mode. And I think it's during that period that we need to connect, and people will turn to digital communication and technological resources in order to stay connected with people.
Yeah, absolutely.
Hmm.
I know, I feel like during COVID, like a lot of people suffered with their mental health, just having people to talk to on everyday level,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, 1 in 5 adults, it was a survey and showed that 1 in 5 adults just in the United States actually suffer with loneliness and a lack of companionship and feelings of isolation. I mean, we were all quarantining during that time. So these feelings, they have real consequences. I mean, they can lead to life-threatening consequences of feeling this way. So having these platforms, having these this digital communication is definitely helpful and can help remedy and heal some of these.
Connectivity, yeah.
Yep, absolutely.
It's
Mhm.
really cool. Yeah, that's very awesome. So who do you think can benefit from this website?
Oh boy, the list is endless. I'd say that, as human beings, we're born with the desire to want to coexist with one another. It's in us, and so anyone can really benefit from the site. But I'd say a lot of people that have lost a loved one, maybe they are an only child, maybe they never had a brother or sister, or maybe they are trying and struggling to get along with their biological parents, but they just can't for a number of reasons, whether there's abuse in the family or alcohol, drugs, whatever it is. Sometimes you just cannot get along with your biological family, and it's just not healthy. Or maybe you just never had a mother or father in your life. There's some people that grew up without any parents and were orphans. So, and then, there are a lot of people in your life that you can connect with. A tight group of friends can easily morph into a family network, whether it's like college roommates or army buddies. I mean, even like down at the firehouse, the guys all become family.
Yeah.
And that's really what people are seeking. This is what makes the world go round. Really, family, as far as I'm concerned, is what makes the world go round and helps
Yeah.
us all tick. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Like community, I think, is a very big issue because I think having a community, I think it really does help people with their happiness and, really feeling connected, in the universe. I know that even because I travel a lot, so like even when I'm traveling, it takes me about like 3 years to really feel like, oh, like this place is my home.
Right.
Which, I mean, I travel like nonstop, but it's definitely having people around you that you can call every day or talk to every day. Like that's really, there's a lot of joy in that.
Well, there are people that are geographically separated. That's another example of who can benefit from the site. There are people that travel from one country to another just to go to school, and they're separated geographically from their loved ones. And so Choose a Family gives them that platform to connect and make this person feel safe and comfortable in a world that they're not comfortable with, this environment that they're not familiar with. And so it's nice to have those digital connections with people that truly need it and that are separated geographically. So that's an important factor as well, for sure.
So that was actually my next question, because I know that, like, I know you're based in New York. Is your site, I mean, it sounds like it's not just for New York, it's for
No,
everywhere.
my site is international, so
Wow.
basically
That's
anyone from
amazing.
around the world. I've had people sign up from France. I had people sign up from Ethiopia, United
Wow.
Kingdom,
Oh my
Canada,
gosh.
all over California, and New York, definitely the numbers are at its highest. But I can tell you there are countries I've never even heard of where people are signing up every single day. Because there is a real thirst for this. There are people that long for these healthy connections. And I mean, just imagine spending the holidays by yourself, just sitting there. And I just remember that, and that just always goes in my head of that loneliest, darkest moment when I felt like this void in my life and in my heart, and I needed to fill that. And so I was like the site's first member at one point.
Well, the inspiration had to come from somewhere, so that makes sense.
And it was important for me to give back and be able to help others that felt the same way I did. And so I'm glad I did it, because there's just people that sign up every day. And when I read the history of why they signed up, I'm sitting there sometimes crying my eyes out, because I'm so happy to see that they're happy now, that they found these connections that they never would have found if it wasn't for the website. And so it's just beautiful to see the history behind the reasoning why they became a member on the website.
Yeah. Wow, this seems like you're giving a lot to, to the community. It seems like, because I know a lot of people that struggle with, depression and, and a lot of people can't even get out of their beds sometimes. Like even I know one of my best friends, she went through a period of time where, her boyfriend left her and like
Yeah.
a lot of things just kind of, were rough for her. So I know to almost to get, to connect somebody on a personal level to get them out of their spunk. That's pretty
Absolutely.
incredible. So it's an amazing thing that you're doing. I love this. Like, I
Thank
love,
you. I appreciate that.
yeah, it's
It means the world to me.
Mhm.
And you're right, there are a lot of people that suffer with mental illness and have feelings of depression and due to the loss.
Yeah.
And, we've experienced so much, especially during this pandemic. And it's just nice to have a place for them to tap into to make these healthy connections. And I think it really can change the world for the better. And it's changed so many lives. And I've always said it. I said, if I can just change one person's life, then I know that I've made a difference and I've done the right thing and I went in the right direction. When I felt the need to do this, I knew it was the right thing. So I'm glad. I get a lot of emails. I get a lot of people that say, thank you so much. I found a daughter figure, or I found a brother I never had. And, we go to the movies and we do things. I was always by myself, and now I actually have someone to spend time with and build memories with. And so a lot of people lack that in their lives. And so now they're able to
Have
build these
that.
lasting memories,
Yeah.
with someone they may not have ever found if it wasn't for Choose a Family. So,
Yeah, it's really rewarding.
so it's good, yeah.
It's so beautiful.
Thanks, thank you.
Yeah. So what do you feel like, so the goal of the site is mainly just to make those connections, or is there overall,
Well, the goal is to be able to build relationships that can stand in the place of blood relations. That's the ultimate goal at the end of the day. But at some point in our lives, we're all going to experience loss. It's like death and taxes, We're all going to experience loss. And when we do, we're really going to miss that person.
yeah,
We're really going to
absolutely.
miss them. And so, it's during that time that we try to fill that empty space in our heart, and we try to look for something to help heal that pain that's inside of us. And so choosefamily.com actually provides that remedy.
Connectivity.
Yes, exactly, for people to connect that way. So, so it's definitely a healthy resource for people to tap into.
So when did you first create it, or when was the moment, like when you look back on your life, like when was the point that you're like, oh my gosh, this is the idea, or this is, when was exactly that moment, and where were you?
I remember specifically, I was actually eating Thanksgiving dinner by myself. And I was sitting there and I was eating a turkey sandwich. It wasn't very good. And I looked around the room and everything looked weird. I had a little bit of anxiety at the time, and I just felt so empty inside. And I remember saying to myself, like, well, this shouldn't be this way. Why is this, why am I in this position? I'm cursed, what can I do to fix this? I've always been a fixer in my life, they call me MacGyver. So I want to fix this situation, this emotional situation that I'm experiencing. So I started building it in my head and designing it. I always had a blueprint in my head of how I wanted it to be, the site. And so it was just building and building and building over time. And then finally I just said, you know what, let's just do this. And I believe it was that Thanksgiving where I finally reached the peak and I said, I have to make a difference. I want to give back, and I don't want anyone else to feel the way I'm feeling today. And then it was in that moment that I started putting the building blocks together and finally formed it.
Inspiration.
Yeah, and then it was also people in my ear, you talk to one person and then it leads to something else, and then I was able to find a programmer and I was able to put it all together. So it was like the pieces of the pie and the puzzle were just starting to come together one
Did
by one.
everybody just feel like so inspired and like wanting to jump on board and help you?
Absolutely.
I can imagine. I mean, because I think everybody feels that way,
Mhm.
at least once in their life, if not a lot, So
Yeah, we were coming up with names and all different things, and everyone wanted to jump in, and there wasn't one person. I have had zero negative response to this. There wasn't one person that said, that's a crazy idea.
That's
Not once
amazing,
did that
yeah.
happen. And I wanted to find, I wanted to find the perfect name for it too, because this is a place where people can build their own custom family tree. That's what it is, basically, at the end of the day. And so I thought Choose a Family just flowed well, and it was just perfect to name the site.
So do you just like log on and be like, I want a grandma? Like what? How does that work? Like
You do. There's actually 14 searchable categories.
So you really can just get a
figures,
grandma.
Father figure, literally get a grandmother. Grandmother, grandfather, sisters, brothers, sons, daughters, people that maybe never were able to have children in their lives. So you're able to choose. It's for 18 or older, but you're able to choose that daughter figure or that son figure that you never had in your life. You can get a brother, you can get a sister, you get a mother, a father, a grandparent. And then we have another category, which friends, we have mentors, and we have companionship. So all these different categories are important for people. I wanted to really reach everyone that was in need of some sort of family figure, even if it was just a friend or a mentor. Yeah.
Yeah. So do you have, I'm just curious, do you have any questions for me or?
Well, first I want to say thank you for having me today. I mean, you really, I'm inspired that you're doing this. And what was your reason behind giving back? I mean, you're giving back as well, and interviewing people that are trying to make the world a better place. What was your inspiration for this?
So actually, my parents were, well, they were actually missionaries in their 20s, but I actually fell asleep to like bedtime stories of them giving back to the universe
Aw.
and cutting like little orphans' hair.
Oh, I love that.
So that was kind of like my bedtime stories. But when I turned 14, I like worked my own jobs. My parents were like, okay, you're on your own now, make your money. So like I literally started working from the age of 14, and I started doing community service around the world. So I've been to over 10 countries. Like England, France, Germany, Korea, China, Israel, Trinidad. And I've been doing things from like building schools to hurricane wrecks to
Oh, nice.
retaining walls, AIDS orphanages. Like I've done so much stuff, and it's just the feeling you get giving back to the world and the universe is just this intense, pure love that you can't get anywhere else. It's just like so in your heart and so passionate. It just makes everything just incredible. So I really wanted to inspire our community, like I really wanted to inspire the Hamptons. I wanted to inspire, everybody to kind of get involved in their community.
Right.
I'm also Mrs. Hamptons, and I'm running for Miss New York. And my platform is community service.
Right.
So because I have a long-standing relationship with community service, I really want people within our community to kind of step forward. And if they don't know how to get active, I want them
Right.
to learn how to become active.
Right. Yeah, that's important. Yeah.
And I think it's a beautiful thing, because when you stop thinking about yourself and start thinking about others, you cannot imagine how much joy you get. It's very funny because people don't think so, but
There's actually a helper's high. It's a real thing
Yeah.
that goes on inside your body. Your hormones change, and you produce these endorphins when you are helping others. So they actually call it helper's high. And so it's beautiful what you're doing, and I'm so impressed by all the things.
Well, you too. You're incredible. I love this. I love your site. It's
Thank
amazing.
you.
Like I'm going to use it myself.
Thank you so much.
It's very cool.
Yeah,
Yeah.
thank you. I appreciate that.
Yeah. So overall, kind of overall picture, how do you feel like your site benefits the entire world? I mean, obviously, as we've talked, it sounds like
Yeah.
pulling together many people from different areas and giving them a family.
Yeah.
And that's supplying love, I'm guessing.
Yeah, well, I mean, definitely after experiencing loss and then trying to find someone that can fill that empty space is definitely beneficial and can help make you feel like you have a feeling of belonging in the world, and feeling like you are part of a tight family unit is definitely something that we all need. And like I said earlier, we are born with this desire to want to bond with one another, and we're thirsty for this. And so I think Choose a Family is a very good resource for people to connect and find those substitute family members and build their own custom family tree, and make these healthy connections that can last a lifetime. Yeah.
Absolutely. Well, thank you so much, Kim.
Thank you.
And thank you so much for tuning in. I'm Simone Doroski, and I'm encouraging you to choose to give back. Thank you so much.